Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Every doorway worth crossing asks us to hold reverence in one hand and curiosity in the other. Today we will talk about the meeting between King Charles III and Pope Leo XIV at the Vatican. Here's why this moment matters. In a week when scandal and division crowd the headlines, I think something simple and beautiful. We don't have to be 100% aligned in our ideals to connect with people who see the world differently. Today's story gives that belief a living shape. On October 23, 2025, in Vatican City, King Charles III and Queen Camilla met Pope Leo XIII and prayed together under the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The head of the Church of England beside the Bishop of Rome in public prayer, for the first time since the fracture that began under King Henry VIII nearly 5 centuries ago. Place, time, and people are clear. The feeling in the room, by every account, was even clearer. Reunion, not uniformity. The service was simple. Choirs from both traditions sang. Leaders stood side by side. It wasn't a merger or a deal. It was prayer, quiet, honest, shared. Think of a family that has argued and still chooses to sit together and say grace. You keep your convictions. You respect the person across the table. We should also place the visit in the real world of today's headlines. Back in Britain, Prince Andrew's controversies are again commanding attention. For many, this Vatican visit felt like a breath of clean air through a crowded corridor, a reminder that the monarchy can still offer steadiness, service, and moral imagination. That matters socially because symbols are not decorations. They're instructions. When people see adversaries or rivals pray together, they're given permission to attempt the same in their own neighborhoods and families, to try a handshake before a hashtag, to remember that reconciliation begins with one step, not a full sprint. This is not, in the end, about religion. These headlines are not tests of personal faith. They are about humanity. It matters because shared gestures of respect soften the edges of public life. When leaders meet across differences, especially differences rooted in centuries of history, they remind us that community is built not by erasing convictions, but by choosing dignity first. That choice steadies our civic life, cools our tempers, and opens space to work together on the things every household recognizes: care for the earth we share, mercy in the middle of conflict, and the simple promise to see one another as human before we see one another as other. We are still getting to know the new Pope. It takes time to understand how his presence will shape global conversations. Some early observers have read portions of his record as conservative on certain doctrinal questions. Others point to decisions and gestures that prioritize inclusion and pastoral outreach. What stood out in this moment was not a label, but a choice: to invite, to honor, and to share prayer with a guest from a different tradition. That is both inclusive and, in a deeper way, traditionally wise. It's the kind of move that can speak to conservatives who treasure continuity and to liberals who prioritize openness, because it roots welcome in something enduring rather than in trend or pressure. If you're finding meaning here, please like and subscribe so more people can join this conversation. Before we close, a word about the gifts, because their order matters less than their meaning. From the king to the pope came a silver-framed photograph of Charles and Camilla, a personal sign that relationships are built person to person, and an icon of St. Edward the Confessor, a thread stitching England's royal story back into the wider Christian fabric. From the pope to the king came a scale rendering of Christ Pantocrator from Cephalou, a reminder that ultimate authority stands above every human institution, and an honorary welcome at St. Paul outside the walls with a chair marked Ut Unum Sint, that they may be one. The photograph says today, the saint says heritage, the Pantocrator says horizon, and the chair says there is a place for you. For the churches, the meaning is steady and practical. Shared prayer is not the end of disagreement, but it is the beginning of trust. Trust makes room for hard conversations about theology and ethics without turning people into enemies. For the wider public, the meaning is accessible. The royal photograph reminds us to start with the personal. The saint's icon tells us that the past is not a shackle but a teacher. The Pantocrator holds our gaze on what transcends the fight of the day, And the chair with "that they may be one" invites us to leave the door open for the person we have not found a way to agree with. Yet, I think we don't need to be perfectly aligned to connect. The British and the Roman churches began their separation in drama and pain. Centuries later, they found a way to stand, sing, and pray in the same room. If they can do it at that scale and with that history, then surely we can try it at our kitchen tables, our local councils, our workplaces. We can honor memory without being trapped by it. We can make space for someone else's conscience while holding fast to our own. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video so more people can hear stories that lift us toward one another. Until next time, let's keep walking toward the next open door, one step of reverence and one step of curiosity at a time.